In tonight's Billionaires Behaving Badly segment, the Koch brothers are acting up again, and this time they are making trouble for Karl Rove. The Koch brothers' political operatives coordinated smoothly with Karl Rove's team, funneling millions of dollars in political spending in the 2010 congressional campaign that won back the House of Representatives for Republicans. But Politico now reports that Rove and the Koch brothers can no longer agree on how to spend their hundreds of millions of dollars in the 2012 election and now find themselves competing where they used to be cooperating. Cracks in the relationship began to appear last summer over the debt ceiling debate when the Rove team supported Speaker John Boehner's bill to increase the debt ceiling, and the Koch brothers organization pressured conservatives to oppose it. Politico's Ken Vogel writes, some Koch allies blame what they contend is the Rove team's win-at-all-costs mentality for the decay of fiscal conservatism. Some in the Bush-Rove axis accuse the Kochs of clinging to free market zealotry, even if it backfires on Republicans. A recent expose in Bloomberg Markets magazine revealed that Koch Industries made improper payments to secure contracts in 6 countries dating back to 2002, including Iran. This has redoubled Democrats' public efforts to try to turn the Koch brothers' influence against Republicans. Joining me now is Politico's Ken Vogel. Thanks for joining me tonight, Ken.
Hey, great to be with you, Lawrence.
Ken, what about the taint now on the Koch brothers from the Bloomberg expose about them being involved in illicit transactions with Iran? Is there the potential for them becoming people that Republicans simply can't be associated with?
There's definitely that potential, Lawrence. And what's interesting is the trajectory to this point in recent months, even as the left has really trained their sights on the Koch brothers and suggested that they were in some ways emblematic of the corrupting influence of corporate money in politics after the 2010 Citizens United decision. Even with that, they continue to become more powerful, more influential in conservative politics, attracting more big donors to these donor summits where they collected tens of millions of dollars to distribute to favor conservative causes. However, you have to think that these revelations about dealings with Iran might force some of those donors who had started to see them as perhaps the pole in the sort of right pole in conservative politics, as opposed to Karl Rove's more centrist pole, that they might start questioning whether these are the right guys to be associating with.
But do super PACs allow the Koch brothers to hide in such a way that it would be difficult for a Democratic opponent of a Republican to actually associate that candidate with the Koch brothers?
Well, it's not so much super PACs as 501c4s, which is another vehicle that was empowered by the 2010 Citizens United decision, and one that the Kochs and their operatives and their donors had been taking advantage of for years, but that they used in the wake of President Obama's election and in the wake of the Citizens United decision in a much more overtly political way. And again, in 2010, they were able to sit down with Karl Rove and his allies, who were also using this combination of super PACs and C4s to coordinate on behalf of Republicans. Now there's an open question as to whether they're going to sit down again or whether they're going to take it in their own direction and back more Tea Party-oriented candidates that could cause trouble for Republicans.
Well, they're going to be swimming in money either way. You indicate that Rove's operation will probably have a couple of $100 million. The Koch brothers, you think, are going to have more than a couple of $100 million to throw into this. And so what is the problem for Republicans if there's just this giant swirl of money going around? Why would they care about this tension between Rove and the Koch brothers?
The potential problem, Lawrence, is that the Koch brothers, instead of backing candidates who are considered the most viable candidates, the most electable candidates, like those who Rove and his allies have thrown their support and money behind, will instead back candidates who are more aligned with them ideologically on small government and free enterprise conservatism, those who affiliate more with the Tea Party, but who may not be the most viable or electable candidates. In 2010, we saw this play out in a number of races where candidates deemed less electable ended up winning primary primaries over more mainstream candidates in Republican primaries like Christine O'Donnell in Delaware beating Mike Castle, Joe Miller in Alaska beating Lisa Murkowski, and in Nevada with Sharon Angle winning. So that was without the Koch brothers throwing in behind these Tea Party candidates. Imagine if the Koch brothers spend their $200 million on these types of Tea Party candidates. It would cause problems for Rove, the RNC, and Republicans writ large.
Ken, I think you're trying to leave Democrats cheering for the Koch brothers here to get in there and mess things up for everybody. I'm not sure, though. Politico's Ken Vogel, thank you very much for joining me tonight.
It was a pleasure, Lawrence.